Good afternoon, everybody. This is our third vlog and our second story of hope today. I am very happy to introduce Manini, who I've known for some time. Manini, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really happy to see your face. I haven't seen you for a while, so it's really great to see you.
You're welcome, Elmarie.
Manini has been in the construction industry for several years, and obviously with the lockdown, construction is one of the industries that's really affected. But Manini, this is not your first crisis. It's probably a different one to what you've been used to. But I'm really interested and to hear your story, to tell us how have you coped before, what is different this time, and what are you doing to prepare for coming out of COVID?
Phew, Elmarie. The normal distractions within the construction industry would be your strikes, your delays in the projects and so on. But this time around, it is something that we have no control over, something that you cannot negotiate or do away with quickly. You just have to go with the flow because this is a natural disaster. I think it sort of hit home 2 weeks prior to the lockdown when we had to look at interventions in relation to health and safety, where we had now to bring in masks and gloves and sanitizers on site, bearing in mind that those were all things that were not, in our minds when we initially priced for the project and bidded for the project. But in the midst of the crisis, you cannot go back and say, now, no, but this is not covered in my contract. You just have to act in the moment in order to save the lives, So that's when it all started, budgeting for and distributing masks, sanitizers. Your toolbox talks were no longer about, or not only about safety and HIV and AIDS, but also now, trying to teach people what this coronavirus is, how it's transmitted, how we can avoid it, and so on. So it was a learning curve from our side, as well as now trying to engage other people at the same time. So it's been quite challenging. Yes, Elmarie?
So, so that was prior to lockdown. Now lockdown has happened. Construction, as I understand it, isn't an essential service. We just saw in the news over the weekend, there were 52 guys that was arrested in Johannesburg because they were working on a construction site. So, and obviously, shutting down a construction site is also additional costs. How did you manage that, and how did you try and keep the cost down for that?
First of all, the preparation time was too short. So the key thing was making sure that within this 21 days, your materials on site will be safe. It goes back then to saying, are you insured? Do you have insurance in place should anything get lost? Secondly, it was now you have people that you need to take care of in terms of remunerating them, even though they're not on site. We had to quickly put in a plan together to say, how are we going to pay people? How much are we paying them? Remember, construction is production related. So you pay a person per task completed or per day's work attended to. So there was another challenge of which we quickly needed to come up with a solution to deal with. Lastly, it was the issue of now it's a complete shutdown. What now? What can we do sitting at home in relation to minimizing the damage?
Yeah.
I think those were the key ones. Those are still the key ones.
Okay. So Manini, so as you say, your workers are paid by the hour, or for certain tasks that they complete. How is the UIF payment? Have you applied for it? How have you find the process? Is there any maybe tips and hints that you would like to share with other construction organizations?
Remember, Elmarie, construction is labor intensive. as SMMEs, we have a handful of, just a number of permanent staff. It would be maybe 4, 5, 6, depending on the size of the enterprise. The rest, it's people that you hire as and when the contract is awarded, and it needs to be local people. So you're looking at anything from 20, 30, 40 people in one site. And those people, depending on the contract, some of them are not UIF registered.
Okay.
To the interventions that have been offered. And lucky enough, the government is saying if they are not UIF registered, you still have a chance. You can register them so that then you can qualify to do the claim, the UIF claim on their behalf, so which is much better. Okay. With the permanent staff, yes, they are UIF registered. We've actually started with the process now of doing the applications.
Okay, and then Manini, how easy or how difficult is that process?
Remember the challenging part now for some of us, if you are not someone who's used to doing things online, you used to visiting departments, filling out forms, having face-to-face contact with people in terms of assistance. Now you are sitting with your laptop, you have to go through these online applications, uploading of documents. Some SMMEs don't even have scanners at home. You'd go out, internet cafes are closed because they're not considered to be, so there's quite a few challenges there. Although most of us have smartphones where you can take a pic, turn it into a scanned document and so on. But it requires a little bit of patience. It's a learning curve. So we are getting there, but it's sort of not as easy as it's made out to be, but it's doable.
Okay. Manini, and then post-COVID, what are your plans?
Phew, there's quite a lot. Our eyes have been opened within the construction industry. There's a few things that we were overlooking. First of all, compliance, as we are saying. You get into some projects. So now it has opened our eyes.
So Manini, you said one of the things is compliance is one of the big lessons that you've learned. Can you give us a few examples there?
Sure, Elmarie, yes. The UIF issue is one of the key ones because you get into some projects and you think I'm here for 8 weeks or 12 weeks. There's no need for me to go through all that paperwork because I'm in and out anyways. But looking at what is happening right now, it has taught us that, no matter how small the project is, you still need to comply. Secondly, the issue of insurance, it's one of the key things. The loss. Now we need to go back to our contracts and have a look as to whether this will be covered as a natural disaster. The client, will they be willing to sort of meet you halfway in terms of the loss that you will suffer? And there's quite a lot. Going back to the table, negotiating in relation to extension of contracts, Elmarie, you've lost 21 days or plus, and you still need a few more days to plan to go back. It's not going to be as easy as the lockdown is finished, then you simply going back to site. You still need to plan as to how you're going to go back to sites, precaution measures and all of that. Your rates as well. Okay. You are in a contract where some of the material hasn't been ordered, you are still in the process of, prices have escalated. Suppliers have upped their prices. Some, they stock material from China, from India, from wherever, and you have to bear the cost. So it's a matter of going back to the table.
So Manini, one of the things that is definitely going to be affected is the pricing, the cost. Prices have changed. How are you going back to your customers about that? Is there room for renegotiation?
Definitely there is. I think everyone needs to be open-minded about it. So it's going back, reviewing your contract firstly to see what is there. What did you sign for? Secondly, it will be going back to the client and sitting down with them. Once you've discovered what your anticipated challenges would be, just sit down and discuss it with them, look at the rates, look at the completion dates. Those are the things to touch on. Obviously, you've lost almost a month into the project, and anything else that they can be open to assist you with. Okay. I think it's a two-way communication sort of a thing at the moment.
Manini, how are you keeping contact with your customers during this time?
Through emails, Elmarie, through Skype. It is, going back and sort of like brushing up on your paperwork and asking them if there's anything that you can assist them with virtually. If there's anything they would like to know, they're asking questions like, how do you think you'll be delayed? How long do you think you'll be delayed on site? What assistance do you need from us? And it's just a matter of opening those communication channels. Okay. Keep talking, keep emailing, keep calling, most of us are at home, but with technology, we're still able to sort of keep in touch, keep in contact.
So Manini, one of the things that I'm thinking is once the total lockdown is down, we may still be in a position where we obviously need to continue with social distancing. And there may be a limit on the number of people that could be on a site at any one time. How do you see that affecting the way that construction, especially construction projects that's already midway, in how will that affect it? Is it something easy to plan around?
It's not easy, Elmarie. As I said, it's not just, removed. It's the entire team sitting down and saying what still needs to be done. How does it need to be executed? How then do we plan it to be safe? Putting the safety elements in place. Like if previously it was a group of 10 people doing that particular task, cut it down. Space around people, safety, your masks, your gloves, your stations with your sanitizers, water on site to wash hands and so on. So it's extra precautions and replanning. It's just the changing of the way you used to doing things into now concentrating into saying, you know what, we need to deal with this and we need to minimize whatever risk there could be there.
So Manini, what I love about what you are saying is that it's doable. It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely not impossible. And it just needs thinking about it in a different way.
True, it is doable. It's not an easy thing. But then again, I should think it will be easy if you engage everyone. Let it not be just top management planning. Let's discuss it. Let's have training around it. Let's be open for suggestions, because this is not something that we anticipated. But everyone's pitch in will be appreciated. Let your employees also engage and tell you what they think, how they can be cautious, what would be easy for them.
And then Manini, on a personal level, how are you coping? How, what do you do to keep your personal resolve strong, and keep it strong for your team who's looking to you to tell them when to come back to work?
Initially, it was difficult, Elmarie. First few days were a state of panic. I had to chat to you in one of the days to say, you know what, I actually panicked. And it's difficult to panic when you have people that are dependent on you for advice, But post that, it was an issue of there's too much information that we are being fed with. And it was realizing you need to work at your own pace. And secondly, this is a time to sort of like get to know your employees a little better. Have that personal touch with them. You chat to them, you're open to suggestions, you're advising each other. Even on simple, need to rebrand my company. Simple things like a logo. Yeah. So it was something we are playing around with, the new look of the company. How can we upgrade this? And with a construction company, we mainly think of sites. and our visibility in terms of the brand per se, we tend to neglect it. So this was a good time for us to go back to that. So what is our visibility? Do we have a web page? Is it relevant to our industry? Do we have sort of an approachable logo? Are our colors still relevant? What is it that if someone is making an inquiry, how do they go about it? So it's a lot of engagement and a lot of insights and an eye-opener sort of period.
Fantastic. Manini, thank you so much for your time. Some really valuable information and really good advice. I'm sure that once this is over, you know, within a few days, you and your employees are going to be up and running again. Is there any last thoughts that you would like to share with construction companies out there that maybe would give them some hope?
I think let us not panic. It is a crisis, but we will get over it. It's not going to be immediate. It's going to take time. We've been hit hard. But let's be open for suggestions. Let's engage, learn to engage, talk to our clients, talk to our employees, and, you know, learn more from other construction companies. Let's feed ourselves with information as much as we can, which is relevant. Let's share ideas. But we will get out of this much stronger and better.
Thank you so much, Manini. Have a blessed day, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Marie.